They said it couldn't be done. A band of poorly trained colonists, farmers, and tradesmen standing against the greatest military power on Earth? The British Empire had wealth, weapons, and a global navy. The Americans? They had courage, resilience, and an unshakable belief in liberty. And yet, against all odds, they won. This is the story of the American Revolutionary War, a war that didn't just shape a nation, but reshaped the entire world. A war that proved that freedom is worth fighting for, no matter the cost. The road to revolution, the seeds of rebellion, were planted long before the first musket was fired. For nearly 2 centuries, the American colonies had been loyal to the British Crown. But as time passed, tensions rose. The colonies had grown prosperous and independent-minded, yet Britain treated them like subjects, not partners. The 1760s and 1770s saw a series of unjust British policies that fueled colonial resentment. The Stamp Act, 1765, a tax on all printed materials, hitting newspapers, legal documents, and even playing cards. The Townshend Acts, 1767, duties on glass, paper, tea, and other imports, enriching Britain while draining the colonies. The Tea Act, 1773, gave the British East India Company a monopoly on tea, undercutting local merchants. The colonists were furious. The slogan, "No taxation without representation," became their battle cry. They had no voice in British Parliament, yet they were expected to pay taxes like British citizens. Then came the Boston Massacre, 1770. British soldiers, facing an angry mob, opened fire, killing 5 colonists. It was a turning point. In response to the Tea Act, revolutionaries staged the Boston Tea Party, 1773, dumping British tea into the harbor. Britain struck back with harsh punishments, tightening its grip. By 1775, the colonies had reached their breaking point. 2. The war begins, the shot heard round the world. April 19, 1775. British troops marched on Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts, aiming to seize colonial weapons. But local militias, the Minutemen, were waiting. No one knows who fired the first shot, but it echoed across history as the shot heard round the world. The British expected an easy victory. Instead, they were forced into a brutal retreat, harassed by colonial militias at every turn. News of the battle spread fast. The American Revolution had begun. The colonies knew they needed leadership. In June 1775, the Continental Congress formed the Continental Army and appointed George Washington as its commander. Britain, confident in its military superiority, underestimated the determination of the American people. The Declaration of Independence. By 1776, the colonies were no longer fighting for fair treatment. They were fighting for freedom. On July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed in Philadelphia. Written primarily by Thomas Jefferson, it was a bold challenge to tyranny. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. It was a statement to the world. The United States of America was born. But declaring independence was one thing. Winning it? That was another battle entirely. The struggles of war. The British had more troops, superior training, the strongest navy on earth the Americans had. Passion, home field advantage, and unbreakable spirit. The winter of 1777 to 1778 at Valley Forge tested that spirit. Soldiers froze, many without shoes. Food was scarce. Disease ran rampant. Yet, through sheer determination and the help of Baron von Steuben, a Prussian officer who trained the army, the Continental Army emerged stronger than ever. Meanwhile, France officially entered the war in 1778, providing money, troops, warships. The balance shifted in America's favor. The war's turning point, Saratoga, and Yorktown, the war raged on. Battles were won, battles were lost. But one battle changed everything. 1777, the Battle of Saratoga. The American victory convinced France to openly support the revolution. It was the moment the colonies went from underdogs to a true force to be reckoned with. Then came the final blow in 1781, the Siege of Yorktown. British General Lord Cornwallis was trapped in Virginia, surrounded by Washington's army on land and the French Navy at sea. With no escape, Cornwallis surrendered. The war was over. The aftermath and impact. The Treaty of Paris, 1783, officially ended the war. Britain recognized the United States as an independent nation. The world was in shock. The most powerful empire on earth had been defeated. A new nation, built on democracy and liberty, had emerged. The idea that ordinary people could rule themselves had been proven. But freedom wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. The young nation faced huge challenges, creating a government, uniting different states, and building a stable economy. The U.S. Constitution, 1787, laid the foundation for the democracy we know today. The legacy of the Revolution, the American Revolution, wasn't just about war. It was about ideas. It was about the belief that people had the right to govern themselves. It inspired revolutions across the world. The French Revolution, 1789, independence movements in Latin America, freedom movements worldwide. It proved one thing: ordinary people can change history. And now, the question is yours. If you lived in 1776, would you have fought for freedom? Let us know in the comments. If this story inspired you, hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible history, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done in 1776?